Well, he was very much the Renaissance man, wasn't he? He had what we call the triple threat of research, teaching and patient care. I think what made him special is that he could achieved all three. Most of us achieve one, maybe two, but three as a single-handed consultant for most of his life was an extraordinary achievement.
I always thought of Gerry as a fantastic innovator. Somebody who wasn't prepared to sit and say, okay, how can we maximise what we currently have and try to do our best with that. He was always someone, in my view, who tried to push the boundaries.
Gerry believed you could cure cancer in the very near future, and I think a lot of clinicians involved in research don't actually hold that belief as such, or certainly not as strongly as Gerry did.
He was really a huge inspiration. I don't think there's any other way of saying that. He was, and I've seen it at first hand, he was technically an outstanding surgeon.
I've heard it said that a scientist has to have the habits of an accountant and the soul of an artist, and they may have been part of Gerry's multifaceted personality.
He had this unwavering optimism.
Once there was an idea, he just went for it.
The way he spread himself so thinly, the way he worked with every one of us, he gave everyone the same, or tried to give everyone the same attention and help. So he was caring. He was a big man, but he was so caring, and he was so helpful and compassionate.
He was very, very supportive, fiercely loyal, had great time for everybody, and just enjoyed the people, enjoyed the research, and just really enjoyed the fact that we could make a difference here.
Honestly, he was able to mix it with everybody. I mean, it didn't matter if you were a young student coming through, he'd give you time, or if you were president of another college. He kind of tended to be very much open and available to everybody, and he was very relaxed in the manner in which he engaged with people.
So Gerry had a nickname for everybody within seconds of them appearing in the door. We have all been called Flutabon. I myself was called the Macroom Hurler, which was an oxymoron. A lot of people's nicknames were based on their origins. One of my favourites was a Polish student in the lab who for 3 years was referred to as the Pope's cousin. I think the immediate christening of somebody with one of Gerry's nicknames just put everybody at ease.
I could be anything from Kerry Woman to Bug Girl to, you know, depending on what he felt like on the day.
I think I was probably just the woman from the north. So hopefully it wasn't the Wicked Witch of the North.
Some of the best times I had with Gerry was sitting at a dinner table talking about beekeeping, bee stings, football matches, quarterbacks, American presidents, plants, rhododendrons.
He was always interesting, he was always engaging, he always was someone who you would enjoy being with. He was always someone who, whether he'd read some interesting article or he was talking about whatever, whether it be across everything. Gerry was interested in life full stop, and he fit an awful lot in, and I think not having that kind of, that life around, that energy around, is a huge loss.
I miss the man with the journals. Most of my patients have the Irish Times or the Daily Mail, but with Gerry there'll be numerous copies of Nature. The mental energy and the inevitability that there will be something hugely exciting that he needed to talk to you about.
First and foremost, I'll miss a friend. I mean, he was an incredible personality, huge personality, and there's very few personalities, or very few people that I've met in my career to date who have such a bubbly personality, such a big laugh, such a big handshake, and such a welcoming personality, both socially and professionally. So I'll really, really miss that, and that will be very hard to fill.
His strength as a patient, his advice, and just, you know, just his smile and his energy and his just love for life and for giving. There was no nonsense about Gerry. He was very, you know, straightforward, and he had no time for crying or crawshawling. It was, come on, you know, get up, get on with it, and you know, progress. And he was so passionate about research.
He and I personally built up a great relationship. Gerry operated on me when I was a medical student, and he cured a significant problem I had swallowing. So, and then I went in and I scrubbed with him on the next case he did of the same problem. Yeah, I was always very grateful. Yeah, always very grateful to him for that. Yeah. He revolutionised my life. Yeah.
I really miss his energy. Like, no matter what time of the day or night he'd come into the lab, he was just always so excited about any research we had done, and I just miss him. I really do. There's nobody ever going to be like Gerry again, and we just miss him every day in here.
I miss him as a person. I miss him as I would never know what was going on in the GA, only I was so afraid that I wouldn't know the answer when he came in, that I'd be looking these things up. I miss him for his motivation. I miss him for the fact that I don't think the centre would ever be the same without him, but I think we'll always, we'll do our work based on what we know he would have wanted.
Gerry saw education as a major platform in the centre, so education of both clinicians and scientists, so that they would be exposed to each other and the way that they think, and that there would be no boundaries to working.
Gerry O'Sullivan's approach was to inspire people and to let them know that they were as good as any of the top research. They were working in an environment in Cork that was just as good as the environment in the top research centres in the States.
The most important lesson he gave me was to continue to make time for research no matter how busy you were clinically.
The most important lesson I learned from him was that the work we do will help people.
Be positive. That results don't always work out as you planned, but there's always other ways around it.
Not to be complacent, like not to be satisfied with kind of just getting the job done.
Always asking questions. Questions.
Be inclusive of others, to be broad-minded, to look to other disciplines for the answers to the questions we have in the clinic.
Be open-minded about what can be achieved, and if you feel that this is going to make a difference, then you have to go for it.
He was passionate. That passion and enthusiasm, I think, is one of the best things that any of us could learn from Gerry's life.
I think Gerry had such a broad vision that most of us could see probably just beyond our nose, whereas Gerry was always looking at the horizon.
The work ethic is something I think we've all inherited here, and obviously a long-term goal to win the Nobel Prize.